Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Nama Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yesha Atma Sarveshu Bhuteshu Buddha. In all beings, it is not easily visible, not easily perceptible. The thing is, it is not that it is not visible at all. Na prakashate should be read as not completely. There are people to whom it is perceptible. Oh, those kind of people we will examine. Sarveshu bhuteshu gudaha ataha na prakashate. It is not visible to everyone, which is not perceptible for everyone. Because your perception has to be that it is I. That I exist is an undeniable fact. What is that nature of I is the question. So that nature of I na prakashate. But some people whom Shastra refers to as Sukshmadarshibihi, those who have developed the kind of sharpness of intellect. The sharpness of intellect doesn't mean go on increasing your IQ. That's not the sharpness he's talking about. The sharpness he's talking about is able to go deep into something, to remain on one topic without getting distracted by other issues. So you can go into that kind of depth. How? Tvagraya. With that sharpness which comes like a sharp point. That kind of sukshma buddhi. One who has, they can see, drishyate. So you're reading Bhashyakara's explanation for this. We'll read it first. You can put that on there, the screen, please. Yesha Purushah Sarveshu Brahmadi Sambha Paryanteshu Bhuteshu Gudaha
Bhuteshu Gudaha
Samvritaha
Samvritaha
Darshana Shravanadi Karma
दर्शन श्रवणादि कर्म
अविद्या मायाच्छन्नः
अविद्या माया छन्नः
अतएव
अतएव
आत्मा न प्रकाशते
आत्मा न प्रकाशते
आत्मत्वेन कस्यचित्
आत्मत्वेन कस्यचित्
आत्मा प्रकाशते. I know I exist, but atmatvena na prakashate. Very beautiful story of Shankaracharya. When he was in Kashi once, and he'd gone for his ritual bath in the Ganga and was coming back, on the steps he met one Chandala. A Chandala is the group of people who do what the works that are considered not pious. You know, they are for example, people who do cremation work in the cremation ghats. They're typically called Chandalas. In fact, we have a connected story. Raja Harishchandra, remember, was forced by circumstances to actually work as a Chandala in a cremation ground. He was a Chandala for a period. By the work he did, it all got mixed up and misrepresented and so on, caste and so on. But essentially the kind of work by karma. So this Chandala was there. And they are, because they do work which is considered non-pious, when one goes to do puja, etc., one tries to avoid contact with them. So Shankaracharya, having taken a ritual bath, was going for his puja. And to the Chandala, he said, Gacha, Gacha, move out of my way. And you know what the Chandala said? Annamayat, Annamayam, Athava, Chaitanyamaya, Chaitanyamayat. Yativara, he Munihi, Duri Kartum Vanchasi, Kim Bruhi Gacha Gachati iti, Gacha Gachati. With who are you asking to move? Is it the physical Sharira? Annamayat, Annamayam, or Chaitanyamayat, Chaitanyamayam? Which one are you asking to move? A very interesting question. You can't separate them. We've been all the time studying, trying to understand how to see them differently. That Chaitanyamaya, Chaitanyamayam, how to see it, although we see Annamayat, Annamayam, or even Pranamayat, Pranamayam, all of those, in and through all of them, how do we see the Chaitanya? See, meaning how do we know the Chaitanya? So the Chandala asked him, which are you asking to move? And you know how the story goes? Shankaracharya prostrated before him, recognizing him as one who understands the difference between these two. One, he is able to see the Chaitanyam through the Annamaya. If you're able to see that through that Annamaya, genuinely, you're the same as Ishvara. Which is what Shastra has been trying to tell us all the time. So the moment that happened, Shankaracharya recognized him as Ishvara, as an avatar of Ishvara. Because he knows. Annamayat Annamayam Athava Chaitanyamaya Chaitanyam. Chaitanya Chaitanyam. So when we say Atma na prakashate, Atma prakashate in the form of Annamaya, Pranamaya, etc. to everybody. But Atmatvena na prakashate kasyachit. In its Swarupa, it is not available for everybody. For everybody means for, except for these people who are able to see that. So immediately the question arises, how is it that these few people are able to see it and so many others are not able to see it? That is why it is Guhya, Guda. The Shastra will address that also. Even in this verse, he said, Sukshma Darshibihi. The ones who have developed their faculties to be able to see this. You know, we say that our rishis were the ones who gave us the vision of this truth. Generally, as people born in this country, we have a very strong feeling that the rishis knew something, which I don't know. What is it that the rishis knew? The rishis developed their sukshma darshanam, their ability to see this. Through a whole process we will see. And that ability to see allowed them to see the vision of Vedanta, the truth of the self. And when the truth of the self is perceptible, you are Ishvara. So we revere all the acharyas, all the rishis as no different from Ishvara. Na prakashate atmatvena kasyachit. Atma prakashate, parantu atmatvena na prakashate. Aho
Aho
atigambhira
Atigambhira
durvagahya
Durvagahya
vichitra maya
Vichitra
Vichitra
Maya
Maya
cheyam yadayam sarvaha
Teyam Yatayam Sarvaha
Sarvaha
jantuhu
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 paramarthataha
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 paramartha sattvatvaha
Paramartha Sattvatvaha
paramartha sattvatvaha api
Paramartha
Paramartha
Api
Sattvatvaha
evam
Api
bodhyamanaha
Evam Bodhyamanaha
aham paramatma iti
Aham
Paramatma
Paramatma Iti
na grannati.
Na
Nagrihati.
Grihati.
Acharya is very, very clear. Why does aho? This very gambhira vishya and not easily comprehensible. Because Maya is taking care of that. Maya has got this avarana shakti. Covering this knowledge up. It is there. We're just not able to see it. Vichitra Maya Chayam Yadayam Sarvo Jantuhu Paramarthataha. That we are no different from Paramatma. Every Jantu is no different from Paramatma. I am Ishvara. Tattvamasi. That jnanam is covered. Maya takes care of that. So Jantu Paramarthata. Paramarthata means that even after being taught that, listen, you are Paramatma. There is no such thing as bandhana. It is all imagined, kalpita. Thank God, what is saying Swamiji? How can I be Paramatma? Because I am still mistaking the I. Shastra says, okay, you start with that, but slowly understand what is more sukshma and more sukshma and more sukshma and more sukshma till you come to understand what is I. We saw that in the first two, in the last two mantras. Indriyebhya param harthaha arthabhyescha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha mahata param avyaktam avyaktat purusha paraha purushan na parang kinchit sa kashta sa paragatihi. By taking this analysis, looking at the words of the Shastra, but carefully analyzing it. Shastra Anukula Tarka. By looking at that, this becomes clear. But Paramartha Satvataha api evam bodhyamanaha. Person has been taught. We know, we experience this. After 2 years of Shravanam and Mananam, we are still unable to understand the truth of the self, not as paroksha, but an aparoksha satyam. That I, because we are not able to drop that I that we have formed. And therefore, even though all the logic sounds correct, I am unable to, and the teacher has taught and everybody's understood. Even Arjuna, how many times he asked the same question over and over again. Even though taught, you are Ishvara. Logically, the person Ham Paramatma iti na grannati does not grasp aparokshataya. On the other hand, people argue, hey, isn't it so obvious? I am the Sharira. My name is so and so. I am the son of so and so. I am an Indian, a Brahmin, or whatever. And whenever my Sharira gets up and goes, I go. They are the same. How can you say I'm not the Sharira and I'm Ishvara? It's obvious. Everybody experiences this. So even though a person is taught by a competent guru, he doesn't grasp it. That is why of all the people in this Jagat, hardly anybody even wants to know if something else is possible other than what I think. I think like this. Don't disturb me. I am in the process of raising myself on the assumption that I am the Sharira. Sharira meaning Karya Karana Sanghata, body mind sense complex. And that I'm trying to improve it constantly. I go to the gym to improve the body. I do a lot of exercises to improve my thinking, my intellect. I do a lot to increase my security. So can you see in the last 10 years I have grown so much? That much is obvious. But when Shastra tells me, you are Purnaha, therefore you cannot be just this body, mind, sense complex, I don't grasp it. Anatmanam Dehendriyadi Sangatham
देहेन्द्रियाति संगातम्
Atmanaha
आत्मनः
Drishyamanamapi
दृश्यमानमपि
Ghatadivat
घटादिवत्
Atmatvena Aham Amushya Putraha
आत्मत्वेन अहममुष्यपुत्रः
Iti Anuchyamano Hapi
इति अनुच्यमानो अपि
Gridnati.
गृह्णाति.
The earlier sentence he said, even though taught Tattvamasi, one doesn't grasp it. On the other hand, Anatmanam, what is the Anatma here? Dehendriyadi Sangatam. That I can recognize. That I can recognize as I. Anatmanam Dehendriyadi Sangatam Atmanaha Drishyamanamapi Ghatadivat Atmatvena, I attribute to the Atma, which I recognize as the body, mind, sense complex, all the attributes, all the qualities, my name, my physical appearance, my physical structure and akara, my relationships, my profession, my nationality, my ashrama, all that I attribute. And therefore say, Aham Amushya Putraha. I am the son of so and so. I am the son of so and so, because you're still identifying with the body. And this looks obvious. Iti anuchyamanamapi grinati. Nobody tells them. Look at the population of people in the Jagat. Who tells them that you're a son of so and so? That you are only this much? But we know. And I know that this is what I am, everything else is not I. And then we have all the consequences of that. That Dvaita perspective remains. We did the whole weekend camp on saying what it leads to. Bhayam. Because it looks obvious. Because it looks so clear. Anuchyamanamapi grinati. Nobody tells you that the world is Dvaitam. Nobody need tell you that you're only this much. That everything other than what is outside the body, everything outside the body is non-I. Therefore, I'm insignificant. Absolutely contrary to what Shastra is trying to tell us. You're You cannot be insignificant. You are Purna, you are everything. But our perception, even though we are not taught, is I am only this much. Iti anuchyamanamapi grannati. Very pakka, very certain. This group at least questions. This group of 10, 12 people. Compare yourself to the 8 or 9 billion people outside. How sure they are of themselves. Because it is avichara siddhi. No thought has been given to it. It just assumed. Somebody once said, no, assume is a very dangerous word. If you break it up, you make an ass of you and me. Assume. As you, me. You just assume. I am only this much. Everything else is non-I. So sure. If you ever get into an argument with somebody from another culture, we'll have very great difficulty trying to explain what this is. No preparation. Mind is not ready for it. They are not sukshmadarshivihi. So it's very difficult to explain to them. In such situation, the best is, come, let's have a cup of coffee. You can't explain. They're not ready. And that is 99.99999% of the population of this Jagat. They are so sure. That's why this is Nunam.
Nunam.
Can you put that back on? Nunam is like Nanu. It's an Abhyaya Pada. You can use Nunam everywhere without any declensions, without any this thing. Can you put this on back, please, Anand? Abhyaya Pada means you can use it in the same form in every situation. Meaning, certain. Nunam.
Nunam.
Parasyaiva Mayaya.
Parasyaiva Mayaya.
Mumuhyamanaha.
Mumuhyamanaha.
Sarvaha Lokaha.
Sarvaha Lokaha.
Brahmbramiti.
Brahmiti.
There are two interesting words here. Mumuhyamanaha and Brahmiti. The Brahma is to go around. Suttardu. Brahmiti is thoroughly without any direction, like a headless chicken. You know, they say if you go to New York, you will see people walking or going somewhere with great, looks like great purpose. But then you stop, look back and say, really, what is the purpose? Purposeless. Bombay is going that way. Everybody is busy. Brahmiti. Why Brahmiti? Certainly Brahmiti. Nunam. Without any doubt. Parasya eva mayaya mumuhyamanaha. Thoroughly confused by Maya. thoroughly deluded by Maya. Maya which makes sure that you can't see the truth. Like our magician, no? He makes sure that you can't see the truth, but then you draw a wrong conclusion. You draw a wrong conclusion. He somehow is able to see things behind him. I can't. And I know that humans generally can't. So I conclude that he's got eyes at the back of his head. Because the evidence I have, that magic that he does, the trick he does, indicates that he has eyes at the back of his head because they're able to see behind. Therefore, he is a Mayavi. He is able to do things more than other people can. And how long do you have this delusion? It's a delusion. It's a wrong thinking. Till you understand the trick he used, the Maya that he used, the magic he used. The moment you understand the magic, oh, it's so simple. He doesn't have any eyes at the back, but he has a small trick that he used in the magic that he showed us. Now you can do the same magic with another group of people. They will also look up to you saying, my God, this guy is special. He's got eyes at the back of his head. But you know you're not. Because you know the trick. Mahyam prakritim vidhyat mayinam tu maheshwaram. So you are the magician. Like that, the whole Jagat, you understand, you're Ishvara. By simply understanding this one concept, by saying, I am Atma Brahma. I see it in and through everything, through my body science complex, through everything in this Jagat, I see only one Brahman. Ekameva Advitiya Brahman, I am able to see in and through everything. So, Parasyaiva Mayaya Mohamuhyamanaha Sarva Lokaha Bambhrimiti. The whole confusion is repeatedly happening. And happening with an intensity where it makes it very certain, nuna, very certain that it is correct. That wrong interpretation, the wrong knowledge that I gain, I'm sure of. That is why you can't argue with these people. They are so sure of themselves. Their conclusion, but they will not easily reject. And that na prakashate, in many places in the Shruti and the Smriti, has been said in as many words. Bhagavad Gita, it is said, in other places it is said that this is Guhyam, that is not easily visible to everybody. So Acharya quotes here, Tatha cha Smaranam
Maranam.
Naham Prakasha Sarvasya
Naham prakasha sarvasya
Yoga Maya Samavritah.
yogamaya samavritah.
Bhagavad Gita. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavritah. If you say in that tune only, you understand, it comes naturally. Yogamaya samavritah mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. Everybody is muda, deluded of wrong thinking. Therefore, Acharya explains Mayaya avatasanna samavratah. We don't see it. But to the person who is got this sukshma darshanam, he is able to see through it. Like our famous bullion trader. His sight, his vision is only on the gold. He sees all the chain and the bangle and everything else. He also sees the beauty there, or it is done crudely. He probably recognizes that. But through that, he sees gold only. So that capacity to see through everything, only to that person. Otherwise, Buddha ayam na abhijanati. They don't recognize me. Mam ajam avyayam. They don't recognize me. And because they don't recognize me, they see themselves separately from me. ठीक है? Our friend Puru Pakshi, he raises an akshepa. Akshepa, I think in many languages we use the same word. Akshepa. Comes from the kship dhatu. Kship means to throw. Its name dhatu, akshepa. You've quoted Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, etc. But even in this Kathopanishad, which was studying in this Upanishad itself, there are other quotes which say the opposite. There are quotes in this that we have seen. And he quotes, Matva dhiro na shochati. And he also says, we've seen this in this itself earlier, I think we've seen in this. So he says, Nanu
Anu
viruddham idam uchyate.
viruddham idam uchyate.
What does it say? Matva dhiro na shochati.
Matva dhiro na shochati.
This week, again quoting from the same Kathopanishad. Dhiraha matva is nyatva. Na shochati. Therefore, he's seeing able to see, and then he doesn't. There's no shokam for him. Which is what Bhagavan tells Arjuna also. Ashochan anvashochastam. Yeah, please understand. There's nothing to grieve about. This is the same thing which is saying here. What? Mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro na shochati. That Atma as Mahan and Vibhu, one who sees, na shochati. Therefore, the people who see. We were saying na prakashate. How could he say that? So he says, Nanu viruddham idam uchyate matva dhiro na shochati na prakashate iti cha. Now these are two contrary statements. Na prakashate, Gudha Atma, and at the same time saying, Jnatva dhiraha na shochati. So he says, how do you explain this? I'm also quoting from Shruti only, and from the same Shruti, in fact. In fact, this comes up also in the second valley. Later we will see that. Acharya, as usual, having stated the point of view of the Purva Pakshi, refutes that. How does he do that? We can put that back on. Naita devam
देवम्
asamskrita buddhihi
असंस्कृतबुद्धिः
avigyetvat
अविज्ञेयत्वात्
na prakashate ityuktam.
न प्रकाशते इत्युक्तम्.
It is not like that. Your objection is invalid. Why is it invalid? We have said that the ones who don't have the maturity, asamskrita buddhi. Samskrita literally means well done, well prepared. It reminds me of these people who eat meat. They will go to a restaurant and order steak. Okay. And the waiter will ask, how do you want it done, sir? So some of them will say, well done. And some others who are baser instincts will say they want it rare. Rare is normally considered good word. But in this context, it means don't cook it. I will eat like an animal. Silly. I find it very funny that these people should order rare steak. Steak is, the meat slab they give you. They want it rare or medium rare. Rare meaning literally uncooked. Not a very happy example, but brings home the point. Asamskrita. Asamskrita is not prepared, which includes a large majority of the world population. Asamskrita buddhi. Being avigneyatvat, being ones who don't know, for them na prakashate. Ityuchyati. Ityuktam. It is said for those who don't have a buddhi which is well prepared, not available. That's why I said, when somebody even goes to a capable guru and the guru tells him, he can't absorb it because his mind is not prepared. He will reject it. In the first place, he won't even go to a guru. The only reason he will go to the guru will be, let's find out what he is saying and prove that he is wrong. You go with that attitude, you will never learn anything. So, asamskrita buddhihi avigneyatvat na prakashate ityuktam. But the ones who have samskrita buddhi, I said rare because if you compare with asamskrita as rare, the word rare means only a few exception. But here, 99.99999% of the human beings in the Jagat fall into this category. So they're not rare by any stretch of imagination. Who is rare? The Samskrita Buddhi. Those who got the Buddhi well prepared. Drishyate tu.
Drishyate tu.
Samskritaya agraya.
संस्कृतया अग्रया
Agraya means agram iva agraya taya.
अग्रया
Ekagritaya
एकाग्रतया
apetya no, upetaya ityetat.
उपेतया इत्येतत्
एतत्
On the other hand, drishyate tu. Tu means on the other hand. Who see drishyate? Samskritaya agraya wants to have that agraya buddhi. Single pointed buddhi. So he explains that. Agramaiva agraya. Pointed, sharp. That's why I said it is not necessarily that high IQ or anything like that. But the ability to stay with that for a length of time. The example given is kusha grass. You know, the special grass, dharba grass you use in puja, etc. They make the ring when you take sankalpa. That kusha grass, it keeps on coming to the end, which is almost invisible. So sharp. Like that kusha grass. Agramaiva agraya taya. By that. What he explains that as ekagritaya. Endowed with that kind of single pointedness. How do you get endowed with that? You practice it. You have meditation. You have japa. All those practices help you to bring that single pointedness. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Single pointed, completely staying with that subject for a length of time. Ekagrataya, upetaya, endowed with iti etat. Those people see drishyate. How many such people are in the world? Handful. Can you go back there? Sukshmaya. Sukshma vastu nirupana paraya.
सूक्ष्मवस्तु
वस्तु
निरूपणतया
निरूपणपरया
That sukshma vastu nirupana paraya. The ones who are able to ascertain that extremely sukshma vastu by staying with that for a length of time, by training the mind to not get distracted, by preparing the mind through meditation, japa, etc., to stay on that subject and to be able to do nididhyasana, which we'll talk about in the next mantra. Sukshmaya, sukshma vastu nirupana paraya, endowed with that, one who has jignasa, that questioning mind saying, I need to know. Anything else, it takes me away from the deviation. I don't want the deviation. It is, in fact, the only reason anybody takes a sannyasa. When that conviction is there, that there is something to be known, and that something to be known is Purnaha, then my entire focus, entire attention, entire quest is on that one thing only. Therefore, he is called a Vividisha Sannyasi, Veditum Ichha. Sukshmaya Sukshmavastu Nirupana Paraya. He continues. Kaihi.
कैः
By whom? Who are these people? Who are these people who get this Sukshma Buddhi? Sukshma Darshibhihi.
सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
By those who are able to see that Sukshma Vastu. Sukshma Darshibhihi. Indriyebhya parahyartha.
इन्द्रियेभ्यः पराह्यर्थाः
इत्यादि प्रकारेण
इत्यादिप्रकारेण
सूक्ष्मता पारंपर्य दर्शनेन
सूक्ष्मता पारम्पर्यदर्शनेन
परम सूक्ष्मं
परं सूक्ष्मं
द्रष्टुं शीलं
द्रष्टुं शीलं
येषां ते
येषां ते
सूक्ष्मदर्शिनः
सूक्ष्मदर्शिनः
तैः
तैः
सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः
पंडितैः
पण्डितैः
इत्येतत्.
इत्येतत्
Very nicely Acharya expands on this very beautifully. We have studied already. By studying what pervades what. And that also it's pervaded with something else. That also is pervaded with something else. That also is pervaded with something else. By studying this, in the last two mantras, Indriyebhya paraharthaha, Rattebhyascha param manaha, manasastu para buddhi, etc. Till you come to the state where you look at that one vastu which is sa kashta sa paragatihi. By understanding that carefully, Sukshmadarshibihi, by those people, Tritya again, by those people who have understood this two mantras, using this prakarana, this method, ityadi prakarena, this is another method. This is only one method. Other methods are also there, Panchakosha Viveka, Driddashi Viveka, any of these you use, which leads you to this understanding. Ityadi prakarena, this or other method, Sukshmata paramparya darshanena. Now this whole sequence, you should understand this very clearly. How we went from, really you can start from anything. It will eventually come to this. We go step by step, step by step, step by step. It has to come to Para-Atma. You can start with sense organs, sense objects, whatever you want to start with. Eventually it will come here only. The Shastra assumes that people like us who have got to study this already understand enough. So you don't have to start from things outside the Sharira. The sthula things outside the Sharira. We don't have to start from there. But for some people, you may have to do that. I am not the hat. I am not the hair. And on and on and on. This paramparya darshanena, sukshmata paramparya, each step it becomes more sukshma, more pervading. By recognizing that, by understanding this and other prakara also, you arrive at param sukshma drashtum sheelam. By this process of studying, you understand that param sukshmam drashtum sheelam, the capacity to see that param, see the ultimate, sa kashta, sa paragatihi. So the mind is gradually prepared. Shankaracharya has given us a very beautiful stepwise 40 steps to get there. We've studied that. called Sopana Panchakam. Steps. Sopana is steps. Or Sadhana Panchakam. Vedo nityam adhiyatam tadiditam. Step one by one. In 5 stanzas, he's given us 40 steps. You go through all of them. Arrive at a stage where Sukshmam Drashtum Sheelam. The ability to see that Sukshma Vastu. Those people, Esham, Te Sukshma Darshina. They are the Sukshma Darshinaha. They are the ones who have the ability to see that Sukshma Vastu by going through this process. Remember, this is all Yamadharmaraja's teaching, which Shankaracharya is expanding on. Ityadi prakarena sukshmata paramparya darshanena param sukshmam drashtum sheelam esham te sukshma darshana. They are called sukshma darshinaha, who have developed this capacity to see the sukshma using one of or more of these prakaranas. Taihi, by them. Tritiya Bahuvachanam, Taihi, by them, is called Sukshma Darshibihi. By these Sukshma Darshinaha. They are able to see, for them it is Drishyate. They are able to see. Hopefully, all of us will fall into that category, if not today, sooner or later. Sukshma Darshibihi. And he goes on to one more word he uses, very interesting. Taihi Sukshma Darshibihi Panditaihi. By the Panditas. Implying thereby that it is only Jnanam. Pandita means what? He who has Panda, Pandityam. Well, Jnanam. So, Panditaihi. By those Panditas who have that ability, who have gained that ability to gain this Jnanam, that Jnanam is moksha. So, by that Sukshma Darshivihi, Panditaihi Ityetat. Why do they call it Panditaihi? They use the word Paramparya Darshanena. See, really, you go step at a time. That's how it is shown in the previous 2 mantras. But when you come to that final stage, what one should be able to see is that all of them, all the steps, there is only one Adhishthanam. There is only one Vastu on which they are dependent, all of them. Whether you talk about sense organs, sense objects, mind, buddhi, the Hiranyagarbha, Samashti buddhi, all of them sustained by only one Vastu called Atma, Brahman. And that Vastu I have to recognize as the nature of I. Despite having the Sharira, despite feeding and maintaining the Sharira and the Manas and the senses, etc., I have to recognize I in that. That is the Jnanam, that is the Pandityam that we need to get this here. Na prakashate does not mean it does not exist. Earlier it said, no. Atayeva Atma na prakashate. Na prakashate does not mean it does not exist. Na prakashate chet tarhi nasti eva nasti na. It is there. It is like, I'm sure many of you experienced this. I have definitely experienced this. You left a piece of paper on your table. You come after some time and search and search and search. You put all the papers on one side and look for the paper, look for the paper, look for the paper, and come back and say it is not there. That's why, when I was young, my father used to say, you should never make statements like this. Never say it is not there. You can say, I couldn't find it. Because soon after that, his wife will go and say, why can't you look properly? And then she'll take away, here it is. I'm sure many of you have gone through this experience. It is there, we just don't see it. Women also do that, okay? I've seen this many times. They have a handbag full of all kinds of things. And then they will say, oh, where is the house key? They'll take everything, and then they say, no, it is not there. What did I do? Did I leave it in the lock at home? I've looked properly in the bag. No, I've looked twice, it's not there. And then you find it inside the bag only. We don't see them. Na prakashate does not mean non-existing. It is there, just not available for perception unless the mind is very well prepared. How do I prepare the mind? All the steps have been given to us. Forty steps in Sopana Panchakam, 12 steps given by, I think this is by Vidyaranya Muni. So many great people have given us the process by which to do this. All of them eventually end up in only Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. But we will look at this process in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om